Governor getting heat for spending his holiday weekend in Montana, despite previously banning state-funded travel to the Big Sky state over what he calls anti-gay policies.
Montana Congressman Matt Rosendale joins us now to react. Congressman, if Montana is such a no-good, horrible state as Gavin Newsom claims it is, why is he vacationing there?
Because it's a wonderful place to be. I'm glad to have Gavin Newsom come up here and not only spend some money, but hopefully he can spend enough time talking to people in Montana and find out what a free society actually lives and operates like.
That's a good response there. Newsom also released a statement, or his people did, and he says the travel ban applies to extending state funds. The governor's travel is not being paid for by the state. Connecting the two is irresponsible and falsely implies there is something untoward. But I think the point is that he is the representative of California, and state-funded travel is in California is banned from being used in Montana. So this is sort of a rules for thee, not for me situation, isn't it?
It is standard operating procedure for the far left. We see this time and time again, the hypocrisy that the way with which they live their lives is always very different from the policies that they try to impose on the balance of their constituents. And this is just another example of it. We've seen Gavin Newsom do that time and time and time again. And while the balance of the population of California, whether it's for business travel or education or whatever purpose, cannot use state funds to come here to Montana to see the beautiful landscape and to study our tremendous geography. He has taken the time to come up here himself and take dollars out of his pocket. So again, I'm glad that Gavin Newsom is up here spending money, and I hope that he spends a lot of time talking to the people so that he understands how a free society is supposed to function, because we run things a lot differently up here than they do in California, clearly. And that is mainly the reason that we've seen such an exodus from California to states like Montana, where people live freely.
You know, Congressman, one of the things that bothered me about this story is that every article that I read said that Montana has anti-LGBTQ policies without explaining what those policies are. And it turns out that it's referencing the fact that in Montana, if you're born a boy, you can't join a girl's sports team if you're transgender. Is that anti-LGBTQ to you?
No, it is not. If you go back in history and you look and see why the Title IX statute was put in place and the funding to make sure that young women had the opportunity to compete in sports and academics at the same level that young men were able to. And basically, these policies are just to the statute that's put in place now is to preserve that, to make sure that we don't have young men that were born biologically as a young man to go in and compete academically or athletically against young women, because it's ridiculous. And so we want to make sure that we preserve their opportunities, young women's opportunities to compete for scholarships and to compete in sports programs on a fair level.
And we saw this same travel hypocrisy during COVID, right? These woke politicians blasting places like Florida, for example, for lifting their lockdowns. And then, pray tell, where do those woke politicians travel? Florida. Well, there's also this. Red states winning in the post-pandemic economy. You think those two are connected? GOP-led states adding 341,000 jobs since the start of the pandemic. Blue states still short 1.3 million jobs. Congressman, why do you think that's the case?
Absolutely, Todd, because we stayed open. Governor Gianforte, as soon as he was able to, he lifted every single mandate when he was sworn into office and provided protections for our businesses so that they were going to be able to maintain some type of immunity as long as they used proper procedures to protect their customers. And we opened our state back up again. And not only did you see that our economy picked up faster, we also saw that the children were a lot healthier and a lot happier. And so that's something else that everybody has to take into consideration. A lot of those blue states, as you say, are going to be dealing with a lot of these other problems, not just with their economy, but with mental health issues, because they did lock down their states. They're going to be dealing with that for quite some time. Everyone is, to a certain extent. But I think you're going to see the exact same stats come back out and show that the Republican states, the Republican-run states, are going to have a lot less of these incidences.
Congressman Matt Rosendale from the great state of Montana, thank you so much for waking up early or staying up late for us. We appreciate it.
Thanks, Todd. Thanks, Carl.